We need to plant more trees than going for deforestation. I think the whole of the environment is being spoiled or it is being depleting because of deforestation. What is the unit of measurement of ozone layer? So it is called Dobson's units. Mutations are nothing but sudden heritable changes that take place in the genetic material, that is DNA. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the last session of this interesting chapter called Environmental Issues. Myself, B. Shobharani from the Department of Biology, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysuru, the Temple of Excellence. Hope you remember in the last session, we were dealing with the concept called global warming. What is global warming? It is increase in the atmospheric temperature due to the increase in the greenhouse gases. So, how can we control this global warming? So, a very important, we need to protect our environment by controlling global warming. So, what are the measures that are taken to control global warming? As I said, as we being human beings, we are part and parcel of this environment, and it is our bound duty to contribute towards the conservation of this beautiful environment and prevent our environment from global warming. So, what are the measures that need to be taken to control global warming? Here you can see the very important thing is we need to protect our plants. Very, very important is, as you know, they are the source of food for us and they are the source of supply of oxygen to the human beings. So the first very important is we need to protect the plants and also the animals. So first very important is reduce for use of fossil fuels. Very, very important. Imagine the number of vehicles plying on the road, particularly in the metropolitan cities. Imagine the amount of pollution that is caused by the running of these vehicles. So reduce use of fossil fuels and even burning of forests, burning of wood, all that we need to avoid. So that is the best method to avoid carbon dioxide. Then improving efficiency of energy usage. So it is not like using more energy, like how to use the energy in a proper manner is very, very important. So in that way also we can reduce global warming. Reducing deforestation, very, very important. We need to plant more trees than going for deforestation. I think the whole of the environment is being spoiled or it is being depleting because of deforestation. In the name of urbanization, in the name of modernization, we are expanding our agriculture and we are destroying the forests. And imagine if forests are destroyed, then definitely there is going to be an ecological imbalance. So very, very important is we should not go for deforestation but go for afforestation. Plant more number of trees. That is the best method to avoid global warming. Then that is what I said, promoting afforestation program, planting more trees. Then slowing down growth of human population, very important. More the human population, more will be the demand for the basic needs, may it be like the water, food, etc., and for the natural resources. So the best way is to control the human population. As we know, India being the second largest thickly populated country to next to China, imagine the amount of natural resources that are being used in our country. So we need to reduce the human population. Obviously, there will be, more the population, more will be the need for the basic amenities, and that will lead to exploitation of natural resources and depleting the environment. Then very important is international initiative to be taken to reduce emission of greenhouse gases. It is not all alone the part of our country in contributing towards control of global warming. It is an international, you can call it as it is an international treaty where we all the countries together have to come forward in controlling global warming, because this is a global issue. This is a global issue. It is not only the issue of our country, because it is global warming. That means to say it is the concern of each and every country. So these are some of the measures or the control measures which need to be taken to control global warming. So first very important is what? reduce use of fossil fuels. Second one, improving efficiency of energy usage, reducing deforestation, promoting afforestation program, slowing down growth of human population, then international initiative to be taken to reduce emission of greenhouse gases. And you can see this beautiful picture that which shows that we need to protect our beautiful environment. We are part and parcel of this beautiful planet Earth or the environment, and I think the amount of basic things what we derive from the environment, we know as being human beings, we know we cannot we cannot live without the environment, because we are dependent on this beautiful environment for our needs. So I think man's need for greed has made him to deplete this beautiful environment or destroy this beautiful environment. So it is a bound duty to protect and conserve this beautiful environment. Then ozone depletion in the stratosphere. I think if a very important concept is the ozone depletion. Due to human activities or anthropogenic activities, in the name of modernization, in the name of urbanization, I think we are destroying this beautiful environment by using most of the harmful chemicals like chlorofluorocarbons, which is and even the use of fossil fuels. All these are an added this one for the ozone depletion. And imagine if this layer called ozone is depleted, I think definitely we human beings and all the plants and animals that are living on this planet Earth will be definitely affected, because the dreadful UV rays that are going to pass directly from the sun to, and it is going to fall on the Earth's surface. So ozone is a protective layer, O3. It's a gaseous layer which is protecting our Earth's surface from the dreadful UV rays. And imagine at this point of time, if we don't take care of this ozone depletion, then definitely it is going to prove a threat to the human mankind. So, ozone depletion in the stratosphere. It is a bound duty to protect this ozone layer. Now, let us understand what is this ozone depletion. So, bad ozone formed in the lower atmosphere, troposphere, that harms plants and animals. So, there is a good ozone layer and a bad ozone layer. So, bad ozone layer formed in the lower atmosphere, that is the tropoatmosphere, that is going to harm the plants and animals by causing various diseases. As I said, first of all, the ultraviolet rays are very harmful to human mankind in many ways. Maybe it affects the skin, it affects the eye. So, it is a bound duty to see that there is no depletion of the ozone layer. So, there is good ozone also. This ozone is found in the upper part of the atmosphere called stratosphere, and it acts as a what? Shield. Shield means a protective layer absorbing the ultraviolet radiations from the sun. So this is acting as a protective shield, protecting all of us, all the living organisms that are found on the planet Earth from the dreadful UV rays that come from directly from the sun. So imagine if this protective shield is destroyed, then directly the sun rays are going to fall on the Earth's surface and causing a lot of hazardous diseases in both plants and animals. So what is then the thickness of the ozone layer is measured in terms of Dobson's units. Dobson's units. So this is a question which is usually asked. The Dobson's units are units used to measure what, or what is the unit of measurement of ozone layer? So it is called Dobson's units. So ozone depletion in the stratosphere. So bad ozone formed in the lower atmosphere called troposphere is going to harm the plants and animals. So there is a good ozone layer called, that is in the stratosphere, which is going to act as a protective shield and protect us, all the living organisms present on this planet Earth, from the dreadful ultraviolet radiation that come from the sun. So the thickness of the ozone layer is measured in terms of Dobson's units. So Dobson's units are the units that are used to measure the ozone layer, O3. It is a O3 gas. Next, ozone, O3 gas is continuously formed by the action of UV rays on molecular oxygen and also degraded into molecular oxygen in the stratosphere. There should be proper balance of formation and degradation of ozone layer. I think all of us know, like most of like in urban areas, most of us use this refrigerators, or even in the rural areas, and even AC air coolers, so which use a chemical called chlorofluorocarbon, so which is very much responsible for the depletion of the ozone layer. So one chlorine molecule can destroy 1 lakh ozone molecules. So imagine the amount of chlorofluorocarbons that we are using in refrigerators and even in air coolers. So the best way to is to reduce the use of chlorofluorocarbons in refrigerators and even in air coolers. Even the companies have come out with another strategy where they use less of this chlorofluorocarbons, keeping in mind about the depletion of this ozone layer. So O3, that is a gas, is continuously formed by the action of UV rays on molecular oxygen and also degraded into molecular oxygen in the stratosphere. So there should be proper balance of formation and degradation of ozone. Ozone depletion, as we were discussing about it. So balance of ozone in stratosphere is disrupted due to the enhancement of ozone degradation by chlorofluorocarbons. Just now I said why there is imbalance in the ozone layer, why we say there is ozone, the hole in the ozone layer. Hole means what? That means there is the ozone layer is getting thin and thin because of more use of chlorofluorocarbons. As I said, one chlorine molecule can destroy 1 lakh ozone molecules. So imagine the amount of chlorofluorocarbons we are using in our daily life in refrigerators and in air coolers. So CFC find wide use as in refrigerators. And CFC discharge in the lower part of atmosphere move upward, reach the stratosphere. So this chlorofluorocarbon, which is discharged from the atmosphere, move upward and reach the stratosphere where there is a good ozone layer. And in stratosphere, UV rays act on CFC and release active chlorine atoms, and chlorine degrades ozone, releasing molecular oxygen. See, that is the reason why, as I said, one chlorine molecule can destroy 1 lakh ozone molecules. So balance of ozone in stratosphere is disrupted. So the very root cause for ozone depletion is one very root cause is use of chlorofluorocarbons. So balance of ozone in stratosphere is disrupted due to enhancement of ozone degradation by chlorofluorocarbons. Short form is CFCs. And CFCs, as you know, they find wide use in refrigerators and air coolers. And CFC discharged in the lower part. When we use refrigerator, air cooler, so obviously CFC is discharged from the atmosphere and reaches the stratosphere, which is having a good ozone layer. So even the good ozone layer also will get destroyed in due course of time if we don't cut short the use of CFC, that is chlorofluorocarbons. So in stratosphere, UV rays acts on CFC and release active chlorine atoms. Chlorine degrades ozone, releasing molecular oxygen. So chlorine, as I said, acts as a catalyst and not consumed during reaction. So it acts as a catalyst. So thereby it breaks the ozone molecules. They're not consumed during reaction. So whatever CFCs are added to the stratosphere, they have permanent and continuing effects on the ozone levels. So on the ozone level. So we know that in everyday life we use CFC in one form or the other, and they are added on to from the atmosphere, they reach the stratosphere, and they have permanent and continuing effect on the ozone levels. So the depletion is marked particularly over the Antarctic region. Particularly the most affected area is the Antarctic region, and this resulted in the formation of a large area of thinned ozone layer, commonly called as the ozone layer. Hole means it is not like a hole. The thickness of the ozone layer is getting thin day by day, and that is one indication that why the depletion is marked particularly over the Antarctic region, where we can see the melting of the ice. So that is one, like there is variation in the climatic conditions, there is variation in the Earth's temperature. So that is an indication to say that particularly the most affected region is the Antarctic region. So the unit used for measurement of the thickness of the ozone in a column of air is called as Dobson's unit. So chlorine acts as a catalyst and not consumed during reaction. So whatever CFCs are added to the stratosphere, they have permanent and continuing effects on ozone levels. So the depletion is marked particularly in the Antarctic region, and we have already experiencing that that there is melting of ice, and even there is a rise in the sea level, And all this is an indication to prove that something is growing wrong in the stratosphere, and that is because of the thinning of the ozone layer. And right now we are okay, fine, but in due course of time, if we don't take care, I think definitely we are going to be affected by the dreadful UV rays. Already we are experiencing lot of many diseases. So imagine if we are directly going to get the sun rays, the UV rays from the sun, definitely I think will be prone to hazardous diseases. So large area of thin ozone layer, commonly called as the ozone hole. The unit used for measurement of thickness of ozone in a column of air is Dobson's unit. Now, till now we were talking about the depletion of ozone layer, and the very root cause for depletion of ozone layer is chlorofluorocarbon, use of fossil fuels, etc., etc. But what will happen if the ozone layer depletes and we are exposed directly to the UV rays? So here you can see the picture how, like, if our body is exposed to the dreadful UV rays, what will be the effect of the UV rays on the human body or even on the planet Earth? Now let us discuss one by one. So the ultraviolet radiations are almost completely absorbed by Earth's atmosphere if the ozone layer is intact. Suppose if the ozone layer is not depleted, then there is no question of the UV rays reaching the Earth's atmosphere. But if at all the ozone layer becomes thin and thin, then it will not be able to absorb the dreadful UV rays, and the UV rays will be passed directly from without being absorbed by the ozone layer to the Earth's atmosphere. So the UV radiations are almost completely absorbed by the Earth's atmosphere if the ozone layer is intact. If it is not intact, then it will not be absorbed. So DNA and proteins of living organisms are damaged by UV rays as they potentially absorb it. So imagine DNA is the genetic material, and imagine what amount of effect it is going to have on DNA, the genetic material. Mutation also is going to be caused, and proteins, which are called the building blocks of the body, will be affected. So overall we can say the human body is affected if DNA and proteins are damaged. The high energy of UV rays breaks the chemical bond in these molecules. So the high energy UV rays are so very strong rays, high energy rays they are. So definitely they are going to break the DNA structure and the protein molecule, thereby destroying the DNA molecule and the protein molecule. So UV damages DNA and mutations may also occur. As I said, in normal way only, I think we are coming across so many mutations. As I said, mutations are nothing but sudden heritable changes that take place in the genetic material, that is DNA. And but imagine if the UV rays damages DNA and mutations are caused, then the amount of the disorders that are going to be caused in human beings, I think we can't just imagine. So it causes aging of skin. See, here you can see directly the UV rays is falling on the skin. And even I think many people go for this sun bath. I think you might have come across in Western countries where the people expose their body to UV. There are countries where almost it is cold. Maybe in that case, okay, fine. But exposing the body to too much of sun rays is also very harmful, which causes skin cancer, right? So, and even it causes aging of skin and damage skin cells and causes skin cancer. So even directly exposing the body to sun rays, because sun rays definitely may have some dreadful rays, and it is going to damage the skin cells and causing skin cancer. So what are the effects of UV rays? So UV rays will not have any effect on the Earth's atmosphere if it is absorbed by the ozone layer. But only if it is not absorbed by the ozone layer, then the UV rays are going to reach the Earth's atmosphere and is going to destroy the DNA and the proteins of the living organisms, because the high energy rays of UV rays are going to destroy the DNA structure and the protein molecule, thereby damaging both the protein and the DNA structure. As it causes aging of skin, and too much of exposure of the body to the ultraviolet rays is going to cause the damage of skin cells, which in turn is going to cause skin cancer. And definitely, I think if you see this beautiful picture of an eye is a very, very important organ of vision. And imagine if eye is damaged, then definitely you can imagine what will be the state of that particular person whose eye is damaged. So the human eye cornea absorb UV radiation, and high dose of UV causes inflammation of cornea called snow blindness and even cataract. So even the rays that fall on the snow, and even if that is even if that is taken, I think it also causes snow blindness. So in human eye, cornea absorbs UV radiations, and high dose of UV causes inflammation of cornea called snow blindness and even cataract. Thickening of the cornea causes cataract. So very, very important effect is snow blindness. Such exposure may cause what? Such exposure may cause damage to cornea. Snow blindness. This is a very important question which is asked even in the examination. What is snow blindness? So snow blindness, inflammation and photophobia. What do you mean by photophobia? They'll not be able to open their eyes to sunlight, to light. So photophobia caused by exposure of eyes to UV rays reflected from snow or ice, or burn of the cornea by ultraviolet rays reflected from snow or ice is called snow blindness. So how do we define the word called snow blind? See here, the lens, the cornea will become thick, and even the cornea will be undergoing inflammation. So that will lead to what? Snow blindness. So what is snow blindness? Ultimately, it is going to, the UV rays is going to damage the cornea. So snow blindness means what? Inflammation and photophobia caused by the exposure of eyes to UV rays reflected from snow or ice, or burn of the cornea by ultraviolet rays reflected from snow or ice. Then prevention. Yes, of course. There are problems, but as I said, very important is each and every person on this planet Earth have equal responsibility in protecting the environment. It is not one man show. Each and every one belonging to this planet Earth are responsible for the depletion. So it is the bound duty of each and every person to see that it is our environment is protected. So cleanliness is maintained, hygienic conditions are maintained, and reduce the pollution, reduce air pollution, reduce water pollution, reduce noise pollution, and even reduce global warming, and thereby even reduce ozone depletion. So what are the preventive measures? So I think all of us know, as I said, this is not the only concern of our country, as this is a global issue. So we have to take the support of all the other countries in preventing the ozone depletion. So there is one such, I think here you can see the beautiful symbol, that is the Montreal Protocol was signed at Montreal, Canada in 1987 to control emission of ozone depleting substances, as I said. So it is like all the countries together have to come forward in protecting the environment. Keeping that in mind, there was one protocol called Montreal Protocol was signed at Montreal, Canada in 1987 to control emission of ozone depleting substances. So the ban of using this, less use of this chlorofluorocarbons. Yes, of course, we cannot, refrigerator will not work without CFC, but there are alternate chemicals which can be used in place of CFCs. So that is what is being done even in the Godrej company, what I have heard, right? So that is like that we have to come out with certain strategies where we can use less of CFCs and even use less of air coolers, aerosols. All these are even the perfumes, all these are in one form or the other are the cause for the ozone depletion and even for air pollution. So many efforts are being made to reduce emission of ozone depleting substances. So it is not all alone CFC, even there are other chemical substances which may also cause ozone depletion. So this Montreal Protocol, which was signed at Montreal, Canada in 1987, came out with the common opinion that to reduce the use of the chlorofluorocarbons or the chemical substances which are responsible for the ozone depletion. So many efforts are being made to reduce emission of ozone depleting substances. So degradation by improper resource utilization and maintenance. So soil erosion. What do you mean by soil erosion? I think soil is very, very important component for the growth of plants, right? So we know how important soil is for the growth of plants. But as I said, even nowadays we have come across soil pollution and soil erosion. So the fertile soil, the humus soil is being eroded. So if the fertile soil is eroded, then how can we expect good cultivation of crops. So, and even what is soil erosion then? The removal of top fertile soil layer due to natural and human activity. So that removal of top fertile soil, which is otherwise called as humus. Humus is called as the fertile soil. So if humus is removed from the soil, then there is no fun in growing crops in that particular soil. So we need to retain the brown amorphous material, what we call it as humus. So what is soil erosion? Eroding, removal. So the removal of top fertile soil layer due to natural and human activities. The very root cause for the whole depletion of this environment, we can say it is anthropogenic activities or human activity. And sometimes, yes, of course, even natural. For example, there is a flood. So obviously when there is a heavy flood, then the topsoil may just get eroded. But as we know, but most of the time it is through human activities. So reasons for soil erosion. Now let us understand. How can we reduce soil erosion and what are the root causes for soil erosion? Overcultivation. So overcultivation of crops will also destroy the top fertile soil. Then unrestricted grazing. Even grazing also is going to remove the topsoil. So but grazing by the domesticated animals may also remove the top fertile soil. Deforestation. Yes, the root cause for everything is deforestation. Removal of or cutting of trees. Then poor and improper irrigation practices. Yes, of course, though we have advanced in the name of science and technology, though we have advanced in science and technology, but still we are implementing the good old methods. Maybe that is also a reason for the old practices that we are using in cultivation may also be a reason for the soil erosion. So what is soil erosion? The removal of top fertile soil layer due to natural or human activities. Then reasons for soil erosion: over cultivation, unrestricted grazing, deforestation, and poor and improper irrigation practices. Hope you have understood all the concepts what I have explained in this very interesting chapter called environmental issues. So this chapter is not alone for examination point of view, but the points or the concepts what we have learned is very, very important. And if we implement all these points as we being human beings as equally responsible for conserving this beautiful planet earth, I think children, you all should take care to see that we all together make up our mind to protect this beautiful environment, right? So I'll be back in the coming session with one more interesting chapter called chapter 11 of your syllabus called Biotechnology, Principles and Processes. So I'll be back with one more new chapter and an interesting chapter. Till then, goodbye and thank you.